planet in the image of God, it does not matter. Which makes me sit back and say, well, damn. What is really the image of God? Because now I have to ask this question, and no one can answer this question, but everyone is fighting and debating about it. And I don't understand why people are fighting and debating about it, or why people care, because at the end of the day, our eyes see what our eyes believe, and that should not be forced down anyone's throat. Now, on the flip side of that, when you talk about science, people have said water has carved paths in the earth through rock. Now, if I look at the Niagara Falls and I see how that water is flying over them falls and pounding away at the earth under it, I can say without a shadow of a doubt, that is what's happening. If there is a volcano on land or in the ocean, and more land is created from that, that cannot be disputed. If there is an earthquake on this planet and it causes the land to shift, split, or whatever the case may be, it can't be disputed. But yet, religion is up to one's interpretation. I can believe one thing, Sun Sol X can believe one thing, somebody else can believe one thing, and as long as that's how we interpret it, that's what it is. So for me, science is more concrete than religion, because at the end of the day, when you really look at certain things in science, and I'm not talking about the most dynamic thing that you have to go out of your way to prove. If you take an apple and say gravity is going to cause this apple to hit the ground, and I take an apple, open my hand, and it drops, that has been scientifically proven. Period. If you tell me that Moses stood on the damn side of the damn ground and threw his hands up and parted the sea, help me understand. Show me another person who can do that. You know what? You can't. You just can't. You cannot prove that to me. But there's a lot. If you boil water at a certain temperature, it evaporates. I can go in my kitchen right now. Well, I do it every day. I boil water for tea and I see it evaporate. It's not up to anyone's interpretation. That is what exactly happens. My last thing that I want to say before you could jump in there is the other problem that I have about religion is that it's being forced down people's throats. And one thing that people like to overlook, whitewash, downplay, or whatever the case may be, is that people have been murdered on this planet in the name of God, in the name of Allah. And when you pose these things to people, oh, that was God's will. Wait a minute. You're telling me these deeply devoted people are justified for murdering in the name of God? And the last thing that I will say before I jump off of it, people were enslaved in the name of God. You can have the floor, my brother.
That was deep, man. That was deep, Roman. That was deep. That was deep. Just to kind of back off of that. When it comes down to the image of God, right? Again, I'm just gonna say this a little bit, and I'll get off of it. When you go into the Chinese community, their God looks Chinese. When you go into the Muslim community, their God looks Muslim. When you go into what's Russian. He looks Russian. Or looks Russian. You go into Hispanic church, their God looks Hispanic. So when you go into, people who look like
Christianity,
our community, why are we given this image that looks nothing like us? And that's just a question I'm posing to people. But the thing that I want to come back to or follow up on is with that whole idea of your interpretation of God, right? Again, I'm with Soul Toucher. What does it matter? We all know that we came from a source, meaning whatever your interpretation is. And again, there's 10,000 religions out here. Plus, I look at it like this. As long as what I believe doesn't hurt me, kill me, hurt you, or kill you, or I'm not trying to force what I think down your throat, and you're not trying to force what you think down my throat, I think everyone should be free to believe whatever it is they have decided is their interpretation of God. Meaning, I don't have time to judge you for believing something different than what I believe. There are so many different religions out here where some religions, they want solely for you to believe what they believe, that again, they're willing to murder you because you don't believe what they believe. There have been so many people and species of people wiped out off of this world or this plane because they don't believe a certain religion. That is crazy. It's crazy. People have been, their lands have been taken from them again with this belief that God was directing the murderers to go into this foreign land and wipe out everyone there because supposedly God told them that this is your land. Really? Like, really? So you're born on one piece of land or one continent. If anything, I would say you have more rights to that than to go into someone else's country or continent or wherever they were born and raised and take something that does not belong to you. Because this idea of someone within a religious organization told you that you're supposed to do this in the name of their God. What God you knows murders women, kids, and men and enslave them all? Do you honestly think someone powerful enough to create everything within our plane, they would need someone else to do their dirty work for them? Wouldn't they be able to snap their fingers and make something like that occur? And again, I say that to say, think about it, man. It makes no sense. But anyway, with science, again, the reason I do love science is because it proves to a certain extent, without a shadow of a doubt, if something is either true or false. It shows you comparisons true enough.
It's testable.
Right. Like I say, I have a thesis, or I have a hypothesis, or I have a thought, or I have a feeling, something along those lines. It came from somewhere where someone, it popped in someone's head. Well, let me test this theory and see if I'm either right or I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. Again, like the example Soul Toucher was saying about boiling water. If you put water in a pot and you turn on your stove, you're going to wash the steam, meaning the water, evaporate into the air. And that's caused by the heat. You can see this with your own two eyes. It shows without a shadow of a doubt that if you put water over heat and you boil it, eventually all the water is going to evaporate. It can be proven. But again, the thing about that is when you have a group or organizations who won't let the real scientists, meaning the ones who want to prove either I'm right or I'm wrong, when you deliberately shut these people up or discard their findings, which they have the actual data to back up what it is that they're saying, then how in the hell are you a true scientist? You're not. You're a freaking dictator. And again, that's whether you are with a scientific organization or you are an individual. You cannot stop other people from either proving or disproving their case study. Mm-hmm. And that's where I have the biggest problem. Okay, so you were the new young hot scientist, on the block or, in the world on that stage. And everything you were proving, you had the evidence or the facts to actually prove it. But now you got this new generation of scientists that are coming up and saying, I know that you proved so-and-so and so-and-so, but from this angle, with my facts, I'm disproving what you're saying. And those scientists, they got a real problem with this younger generation, man. They got a real problem. They don't want you coming up and taking their shine or their Nobel Peace Prize or whatever it is that they've, accomplished. If you can come up and disprove what they once proved, they got a real problem with you. And it's crazy to me. Like, just let the evidence speak for itself. Let it be what it is. Again, whatever this new scientists have come up with, if you can disprove them, then disprove them. But if all their checks and their, T's are crossed and their I's are dotted, just let it be. That's all I'm saying on.
Well, I'm gonna follow up on that when we come back. Make sure again, if you're watching this on YouTube, this is a 2-part a day, correspond with one audio version. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, hit that bell notification. Please comment, because we need your feedback on these topics. But it's your boy Soul Touch the Poet, my brother.
Son Soul X.
And we're gonna be back. Science and religion, baby.
Yes, sir.